Hi, my name is Anna Lagigna. I'm a secondary teacher of English as a foreign language in northern Italy. My students are between 14 and 19 years of age.
In my classes, I encourage interaction through speculation, brainstorming, debate, etc. If we need to do extra grammar practice, I ask students to work in groups and to exchange ideas and notions to help each other. They enjoy working together and learn collaboratively, also because they don't get stuck as they often tend to do while doing homework alone. Those who are more competent interact with the weaker ones in a way that the latter do not resent. Sense of failure because of mistakes decreases, and also top students admit that they can learn more. While doing projects, I have noticed that high school students respond better if they are made responsible for their own choices. So I have often left them free to decide who they prefer working with and what roles to have. When I ask students to peer review one or more digital products made by other students or small teams, I prefer to set up groups in order to ensure objectivity and freedom of judgment. My aim is to encourage self-improvement through reflection on other people's work and the exchange of constructive feedback among peers. In this case, I think it is better to pair classmates who don't know each other well, or to use a random name picker tool which automatically teams them up, like the one you can see here. Some of the projects we have done were basically focused on personal interests and hobbies. Others required more extensive collaboration among group members and sometimes the involvement of a whole class in order to investigate, analyze and synthesize acquired contents and notions in creative, original ways. Here you can see an example of an inquiry carried out by a whole class on Nelson Mandela. I remember that it was the 6th of December 2013, right one day after Mandela's death. Students of a 13th year class came up with a request to do some research on the life of Nelson Mandela. They wanted to know more. This Prezi was made collaboratively by 6 different groups working together on the same project. All learning activities were designed so that all students had to contribute in order for the teams to succeed. They made substantive decisions about topics to research and negotiated solutions on the relating outcomes. We started our project with a web quest based on a series of websites and videos I had put together on a blank space for them, which you can see here. During the Christmas holidays, the students had to answer questions on their own while surfing through the above website. A sort of treasure hunt, so to speak. They also watched videos and interviews on a flipped classroom modus. Back to school, we discussed their results in plenum and then formed groups of 3 or 4 members according to their interests. Students discussed, exchanged ideas and negotiated a commonly shared version of their answers, which would later become a slide on our mutual Prezi. All drafts were posted and corrected by the teacher on Edmodo. Again, our learning platform proved fundamental not only for communication but also as a collaboration tool.
I often ask my students to come up with their own considerations, suggestions and solutions at the end of a working session and report to the class. I must admit that I have encountered a number of difficulties in doing this kind of activity because it requires prior collaboration skills that students need to have developed also in other subjects, but they haven't most of the time. And plus a pretty high level of fluency and oracy in the foreign language, of course.
While my students work in groups, I move around to help if they need explanations and check whether they are proceeding in the right direction. With younger students, I have also used checklists and a tool called Scrummy, which allows accurate planning and checking of work progression. At the end of a project, my students often produce a digital object, a web page, a video, a multimedia presentation, etc., to show what they have learned. They have also their own blogs, which they use as digital portfolios for their projects. I think this is a nice way to encourage self-efficacy and metacognitive reflection. My goal in using blogs is to provide them with a tool through which they can reflect on what they have learned and then be able to compare it with the initial stages of their learning, see where they have developed new competencies, and identify areas for improvement or further learning. I have developed also the use of rubrics to help my students self-assess how their own work matches up the set criteria. They have used their smartphones and online rubrics created on Google Forms to peer evaluate their classmates' presentations in class. By revising other classmates' work and comparing it to their own, they can reflect on how others have found a different solution to the task assigned and help each other. I started by simply asking them to view other classmates' work and add comments, like for example here on this text. On other occasions, I created a Padlet on which all individual projects were shared and students could add their comments in the space provided.
As a teacher, I think that the biggest challenge in collaborative learning lies in summative assessment. Many of us will agree that marking is the worst task in our job. It's tough at times to persuade kids that they should not identify with the mark and feel frustrated. A mark may gauge the level of an individual performance, for sure not a human being as a whole. Personally, I have often felt miserable when I must assess my students' job, and I know that they have put so much of themselves in their work and still it is insufficient. I think that once you start working as a guide and a facilitator, you soon come to realize that our current system is yet not suitable for that. You cannot be coach and referee at the same time, can you? If you are a coach, you obviously feel like as a part of a team.
This is why I have introduced more and more peer reviews. Students can give mutual support and feedback, and I sometimes participate to the same activity anonymously. We frequently use simple quizzes or quick check questions, which we do possibly online. Kahoot, Socrative and Quizalize are our favorite tools for quick checks. In a project on Jane Austen, each group invented secret questions for classmates and played around on Kahoot. It was great fun for all. We also use ongoing peer reviews during presentations. Students use their smartphones to evaluate individual or group presenters. Google Sheets are then forwarded by Edmodo, but evaluations remain anonymous. Using technology has made collaboration easier in my classroom. It has smashed down all barriers and fears.
My questions to our experts and peers on the course are the following. Students, as well as their parents, usually take summative assessment more seriously than formative assessment. How can we teachers persuade students that assessing for learning can be more relevant to them than assessment of learning? How can we plan assessment for learning as an ongoing process without stopping the spontaneous flowing of ideas and creativity while students are collaborating? Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.